How can people be a confident networker?
Oh man, that is a great question.
So I'm sat here with Michael, who has helped a lot of people get on the property ladder in form of loans.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we've really connected well since I've been in Texas. And how much have you given in loans over the last 4 months?
4 months, I would say give or take about $22 million in projects funded. I mean, that's going to be across anywhere from 60 to 80 deals that we had closed. But my team is typically lending out about $30 to $40 million a month.
That's incredible.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely awesome. And as well, you can actually get on the property ladder with very little of your own money if you have good finance.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a million different strategies that you can take in order to not put a dime of your own money in the deal. Now, obviously, you're going to end up owing a few people money when it's said and done. You're going to have a few financiers helping you get there, but it's more than possible. And even with us, even if you just worked with a hard money lender at the most basic level without getting into the nitty gritty of different creative financing ways, you're putting anywhere down from 5 to 10 to 15% of total costs for the operation in exchange of getting all the backing that you need. And most people don't know that a hard money loan exists. They know about the mortgage world, refinances, long-term plays, and a lot of people who invest in real estate, they look at a deal and they say, I need $250,000 in the bank because I want to buy this house cash and make a profit off of it. But there's a whole other world that people aren't aware of. So my firm's a little bit more unique, but ultimately hard money lending firms are able to get you backed with more interest in the project and the potential of it than necessarily seeing definite backing from yourself.
So what you're saying is, if I don't have loads of experience in property, if I've not done a bunch of real estate deals before and my credit isn't 100, I can still potentially tap into finance.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because you care about the deal more than the person.
Yes. One thing, so for my firm specifically, Bloomberg Capital, we are backed by investors, and we have many of our employees have a background in private money lending like yourself. Yeah. So they look at it as the same way that you look at it with your course and with your lending program. Anybody can do this. If you have the right people behind you and you're confident and ready to put the work in, anybody is able to do this. So for my firm specifically, we don't even run credit. We do not run credit. Credit score has zero impact on the rate that you get from us. Same with experience. If you've done 100 flips or 0 flips, the same property, you get the same rates on regardless of who you are as a person. We also don't require any surveys, appraisals, or inspections. We can close in as little as 24 hours for anybody as long as they have the money, they've got a relatively trustworthy background, and I like to joke that they got a pulse, a pulse and enough cash to close, we're ready to go to business.
So what checks do you do on the property itself? Because what we do when we loan, I mean, we're a lender as well, smaller than you guys, but it's my personal money that I'm loaning out generally. And we've done over $15 million. In fact, in dollars, probably over 20 million. But what we look at is we look at the deal. So it's like, okay, what's the plan? What's the exit?
Yes.
What's the deal? If there's enough profit in the deal, then we'll put the money in.
I'm looking at it the exact same way. So we are checking what price you're grabbing it for, what kind of your rehab plan is, what it's going to look like afterwards. If you're going to be adding square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, what you plan to do. From there, I'm going and I'm checking solely on sold comparables. I'm not looking at pending. I'm not looking at what it was listed for. I'm looking at what is sold nearby recently. And that's what we're going to back the valuation on. I'm looking at projects that were flipped, that have a similar square footage, bedroom, bathroom count, similar look, something that we can confidently say, this project delivered this amount, we can expect this much from you.
So let's walk through then a potential example. I don't know if you've got any case studies of properties you're backed, but like I found a piece of real estate yesterday. The purchase price is $140,000. It needs it's a tear down project, so it needs knocking down from scratch and rebuilding. The rebuild on it is probably going to be about 150,000. So in total, you're talking about 300 all in, approximate, give or take. And then the end value is north of 400. So there's about 100,000 gross profit in the deal. If I wanted to buy that, but I didn't have the 300,000, How much could I potentially tap into with a money lender like yourself?
We could be looking at, depending on who you're working with, there are some lenders that base their terms on loan to cost. So they're going to give a certain percentage of how much money you're requesting. That's how my firm works.
What's the maximum I could get? So 140 is the purchase, and then 150 is the estimated build cost.
Some firms will lend out based on loan to value. So they'll give a certain percentage off of what the end value will be. So in this case, you're seeing what, 400,000 of your end value? Yeah. Let's say they're willing to give you 80%. So they're willing to give you 4/5 of that 400,000. Which I wish that my mental math was cracking right now.
So what? They'll look at the end value.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, okay, so
we'll give you 75% of 400,000. So they'll give you 300K. They will give you every dime that you need to get that done. You could end up closing with as little as $5,000 to $10,000 in fees to pay for their services. And obviously you'll be paying interest on the amount of money that you've been handed.
So basically what you're saying is, with none of their own money practically, if the deal's good enough, they can just get it totally funded.
In some cases, now one thing that I want to make sure that I'm stressing is that's going to be harder to come by.
Yeah.
And it's going to have a lot more case by case things that it's depending on. A place like that's going to want to see 3 to 4 months of your financials.
Right.
They're going to want to see 5 examples of deals that you've done just like this.
If you want to get
that approval. So that's the beauty of coming to a firm like myself. You come to me, you say, hey, I've got a house I want to buy for 150K. I want to put 50,000 into it, and I'm going to flip this. What can you offer? I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes with pre-approved loan terms. I'm going to offer you about 92% of your purchase price on the 150K. We're looking at $15,000 to $16,000 to close if you only want me to fund the purchase. You want your rehab funded as well? We're looking at 85% of 200,000, which in that case is going to be 85 plus 85, about 170. You're coming to the table with about 32,000. We're funding everything. We're going to fund the rest of the purchase for you. Everything that you put down is direct equity into the property, so it's less money that you have come to pay out. And we'll either fund just the purchase for you, like the first one I mentioned, or we're going to give you access to a line of credit where as soon as you finish any sort of work, you can submit photographs to us, and we will wire the money into your account directly for reimbursement, no fees.
So basically, the hardest bit is finding the deal. The finances are, but everyone says,
quick one before we get back to the video, it'll be wrong of me to not tell you about some online training that's coming up very soon, showing you exactly how to get started in property. Even if you've got no money, got no experience, I want to show you everything. The best part is it's completely free. Check the link in the description and I'll see you on the other side. Anyway, back to the video.
If you just stop people on the streets and said, why aren't you doing real estate? Why aren't you? They'd say, oh, I haven't got the money. No, it's not that you don't have the money, because the money is there. No. There are lenders there that will literally finance nearly the entire cost if the deal's right. The problem is that you just can't find the deals. So really it's lack of education and it's lack of who you know, not lack of finance.
Without a doubt. There's many excuses that people can have, but ultimately there is a comeback to every single one of them. If you want to say, I don't have the money, you call a guy like me or you. We're going to help you get it. I don't have the time to find a deal. You get connected with a guy like our friend Hussein over here, and his job is to constantly work with his team, negotiating down prices and finding you good off-market listings and sending them to you on a constant basis. You were interested in a project over here, you get a guy like him to go hunt and find it for you.
Mate, we use wholesales all the time, and I'm connected now to Hussein. I think he's even been sending me some stuff.
Yeah.
So
you should be. There's a really, really cool deal he's got live right now.
Is there?
1.2 million purchase, $1.8 million ARV on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, it's
100K at work.
It's who you know.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got any money at all, you could do what Hussein's doing and become a wholesaler. Roll your sleeves up. That's the problem. People are just lazy. Roll your sleeves up. Go and find some off-market deals with some motivated sellers. Wholesale them to investors.
Absolutely. And I don't disagree with your comment about certain people being lazy. That's without a doubt true, but this is also a daunting industry. The idea of being able to pick up that amount of debt in your name, to own properties, to work in this, for many people it's stressful. For many people it's easier to just, be an employee, and that's perfectly fine. We're not hating on most of the world here, but the truth of the matter is, if you really want to do this, there's no excuse. You can find everything, and if you don't have the money, you do a joint venture. You work with somebody and you say, hey, I'm going to find the project. I'm going to bring the lender to us. I need your help backing this project. I'll do all the work and we'll split the equity. So you can find people like that way easier than you'd think. Go on Facebook or Eventbrite. Go to a local event. Go talk to people.
Mate, there's investors like me.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Right.
Exactly.
Who are actively looking for people to bring them deals that they can finance.
Yes.
I think the bit that's missing is, I think the hardest bit to find is the deal where the numbers stack, especially where we are in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of deals where the numbers they're just a bit too thin. But if you've got the time to negotiate with sellers and you can find a good deal, and from a business perspective, if you're going to work hard anyway, you might as well get rich.
Of course.
Like if you're going to sell lemonade stands, if you want to make thousands of dollars, you're going to have to sell probably thousands of drinks.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a wholesaler and you want to make thousands of dollars, we were just talking about Malik, a mutual friend who did 100,000 on his first
deal.
On his first deal.
You know, I mean,
Wholesaling.
it's available to anybody.
Not even owning the property.
Nope. Just moving over the contract.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because ultimately many people will look at that from an outside looking in perspective and say, why would it make sense for me to pay tens of thousands of dollars in costs and fees if I could just go find it myself? Well, that's not how this works. Like ultimately a great deal is a great deal. And taking a tiny chunk off of that margin, it's still worth it for the time that you have. Like if you come to me or you with a deal, an extra $20,000 down in terms of our financing options, we're talking an extra $1,000 or $1,500 at closing. So your out-of-pocket cost is minimal. There's still margin for you to make 5 to 6 figures in profit, and you brought the deal instead of you spending months and thousands of dollars on your own marketing. You have Hussein go hunt it for you for free, essentially, and you pay him when he finds you the deal that's worth your time.
You only pay the price that you want for the deal, and they're getting paid from the seller effectively.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Talk to me a little bit about the thing that I actually think is holding a lot of people back, which is confidence. Like you're a young guy, you go out networking, and you carry yourself well, and you're able to get in good circles. And how can people be a confident networker?
Oh man, that is a great question. And the truth is just the same way you get good at anything, and that's practice and repetition. So the same way that if you wanted to get great at shooting a basketball, you'd go to the gym and you'd keep trying. The best way that you can get good at networking and calling people is cold calling and walking into these things. I am an introvert at heart, or at least I was born that way. I'm an only child. Grew up outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in a more small community, and I grew up more on the anxious side, more on the nervous side, and went off to college and came out to Dallas. And the more and more that you put yourself out there and you teach yourself to be confident, and you try to be the person that you want to become, you end up becoming that person along the way. And ultimately, when I first started networking, it started with my background in insurance. I moved to Dallas to be an insurance agent out of college, actually. I had a background in finance at Miami of Ohio, and I was looking to do consulting out of school. Came out in a weird market in 2023, and I just wanted to get sales experience. So I moved out here because I knew no matter what I did, and I wanted to be entrepreneurial, but I knew whatever I did, sales experience and sales skills were going to be important. So I moved out here, and I didn't know a soul, Sam. I didn't know anybody. And I was watching people at my company who were born and raised here, had connections already, and I had to just figure it out. I couldn't sit there and just complain about other people doing better than me just because they had it. I had to go earn it. So I started going to networking events, popping into offices on cold visits, cold calling hundreds of people a day. And through that, at first I was terrified. Every phone call, every meeting, like, what are people going to think about me? Are my services actually something that's going to interest them? And I quickly learned that it's just more about selling yourself first and being confident in who you are as a person, having the ability to start and keep a conversation going. And from there, every person's a good connection to you. Even if it's in a complete other industry, you want to know that you're able to talk to people, get to know them, ask questions, explain yourself, find mutual interest. So long story short, it's just time.
When you go networking, do you go on your own or do you go with somebody?
It depends. There's many times that I will go with some of my business partners. I work with many wholesalers and many wholesaling firms here across DFW and other markets. So
I would recommend if you go with somebody, split up. This is what me and my wife do. We'll go to a networking event. I mean, my brother, and if we're like, we need some business. And this is why I love doing business all over the world. Because I've got obviously I'm from the UK, hence the accent. but I've got my main businesses now in the UAE, now in the United States as well. And if we're going to a new place and we're trying to build from the ground up, we go networking and I'll say, we're going to split up.
Yeah.
We don't talk to me until we're exchanging notes at the end of this networking event. And you speak to the women, I'll speak to the men. You know, and then it's like, you go network the women. If I go with my wife, I'll say, I'm not going to speak to any women. You speak to all the women, I'll speak to all the men. That way we're going to get around the whole room.
So that's actually how I got hired to be a hard money lender, was exactly what you just said. So when I was an insurance agent, I met the gentleman with my firm, a loan originator, and he needed an insurance guy. Insurance can be complicated when it comes to flipping and renting. So I began working with him, and he'd call me every time he came to town. He was based in Phoenix. And we would go to networking events, we would split up. And he would bring me the people that I wanted to meet. I would bring him the people he wanted to meet. And
he's a fantastic guy as well, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's the best. And
how many flips does he do himself? Does he do a lot of flips?
He's done a couple of rentals himself,
Right.
but he's not super into flips. He's got a few children at home, and he's a family man. But
yeah, because what I do is rather than flip, I'll just refinance at the end.
Oh yeah, Burr method, right?
The Burr method. So I'll borrow from someone like you even. And this is how I got started. Buy a property, then push the value up.
Yeah.
Use a hard lender, and then get a mortgage at the end and pay back the hard lender, and I'm on a cheaper rate.
And sometimes you can end up making a profit off of just that cash out.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. And at the moment as well in Dallas, I'm seeing a lot of people doing that and then renting out properties on Airbnb.
Yeah.
And mate, honestly, especially come this summer with the FIFA World Cup coming.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of profit being made, man.
We, good friend of mine, business partner of mine that I'm going to be doing some JVs with this year. He actually bought a house from Hussein yesterday or 2 days ago, right in the Uptown area here, not too far from where we are right now.
Yeah.
And his plan is to Airbnb it for all year. And then every time he comes into town from Arizona, he'll book it out for a week and stay there himself.
Yeah.
But it's a phenomenal play over here right now. And, yeah, I mean, there's so many different options you can go with.
I think it's worth as well speaking to a broker and finding out how much finance you could potentially get and having an idea before you start offering on properties.
Without a doubt.
And getting that in place. So would you recommend anybody that's looking to invest in a property, maybe think about putting your power team together first, getting a contractor, getting a lender, getting the team ready, speaking to a management company.
Yeah.
Don't go and buy a property and think, I'll do it on Airbnb. If you haven't first found people that are doing it, found someone that can help you manage it, you put your team together first and then you invest. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And all it takes is one person as a part of that team, and they will help you finish it. If you connect with a guy like myself or Hussein, we come with years of experience. So we're going to automatically be recommending contractors, good realtors that specialize with flippers, listing it for cheaper because they want that long-term reoccurring business, refinance professionals to help with the rental, property managers, so on and so forth. So more often than not, I would recommend starting by connecting either with a wholesaler or a lending partner because they have everybody else.
Where do you loan? So you're based in Dallas, Texas,
Yes.
but do you work with people from other states, from other countries?
Yes. So I actually have a ton of buyers in the UK and France who buy here in Texas. I work with people outside the state. I'm working on a contract right now with a gentleman in Brazil. But we also do lend in other states other than Texas. I'm personally the head of our North Carolina market, but we also do Tennessee, Arizona, Oklahoma, Utah, Colorado, and the states that I already mentioned.
That's amazing, man. And how will people get in touch with you if they're potentially interested in speaking about funding? How would they best get in touch?
They would best get in touch with me by shooting me a text at 615-944-6388 and letting me know what they're interested in, or shooting me an email at mnelson, MNELSON, at boomerangcapital.com. And I'm quick to answer. I understand that these transactions move quickly. You need to outbid other people. You need someone who's going to be fast. So I typically get my term approvals out in 10 to 15 minutes. If you need help getting recommendation on a budget or making sure that a project you're looking at looks good, those are all things that I can do.
That's awesome, man. And the thing is as well, like I get a lot of people reaching out to me in regards to my content that I put out. I've got different channels across social media. And, I wanted to get you on. You're not a sponsor of the show. This isn't an ad or anything.
No.
We just working together,
Yeah.
spent time together, and I thought, you know what, if I was recommending my friends in the area, I would say you need to know some lenders, you need to know some brokers, and if I can just help my community
Absolutely.
follow me and connect them to good people, then I'll do that. And it's been a pleasure working with you, getting to know you, and thank you so much for coming on the show, my
Of course,
brother.
I greatly appreciate it.
Appreciate it.